ever seen this kind of thing on TV. For me, this week has been very special.
Yeah, this most definitely doesn't happen for me all the time. It's been a special week.
Living here, almost everyone you meet is temporary.
A pretty journalist called Ray Parks has recently returned from her trip to a rainforest in Liberia, and she's writing about her experience there. Ray loves traveling solo, and she has already traveled all over the world by herself. Her favorite type of trip is adventurous, and she isn't afraid of braving the world's most dangerous places. She writes about it in her column in a famous magazine called Icon. It's a fashion magazine, and Ray's column was quite popular. Her boss, a woman named Shelley, is surprised when she sees Ray working that late. After arriving from her trip, Ray hadn't even gone home yet, but she wasn't tired. She's inspired to write about her experience with the snake in the rainforest. Shelley sits with Ray and informs her that their magazine will be international. There's going to be a branch in the UK, but their audience there is different from the one in Icon. She wants Ray to continue writing. She's a very talented writer, but she wants her to change her stories. Their new audience is middle-aged women who love traveling to resorts and paradisiacal beaches. Not at all what Ray likes. Shelley wants Ray to go to a resort in the Maldives and write about her experience there. Ray is reluctant and tells Shelley it's not her type of trip. She'd rather go climb a mountain or go hiking in a wild forest. Shelley tells her that if she doesn't do it, she's going to lose her column. Things are changing and Ray needs to go with the flow. With no other option, Ray agrees. She packs her bags and goes to the Maldives. She's going to stay there for a week, and during that time, Shelley wants her to enjoy everything the resort has to offer. The resort is on a beautiful island, surrounded by the turquoise waters of the Indian Ocean, with powdery white sand beaches stretching as far as the eye can see. It's not a place Ray would have gone to willingly, but she agrees it's beautiful. While Ray is getting off the plane, at the resort, a handsome man comes out of the water after diving. He's blonde, blue-eyed with a fit body. His name's Jared, and he works at the resort as a yoga and meditation instructor. The resort's manager, Jules, tells Jared that Ray arrived and that he should hurry to meet her. Jules is Jared's friend and supports his dream of going all over the world teaching his course. She thinks that Jared should convince Ray to write about it. Jared is insecure about his course and he still doesn't know if he wants to move forward with it. At the same time, a journalist writing about it in a famous magazine would give him the views he needs to make it true. Back to Ray, she barely has any luggage and she's excited to go exploring. Despite what Shelley told her, Ray wants to write about what she likes, not what Shelley wants. She's in the Maldives as she requested, but that doesn't mean she has to only do what her boss wants. Jules takes her to her 5-star villa, a house in the middle of the ocean with underwater rooms. Ray is impressed with the size and the luxury of the place. She has never stayed in a place like that, not that she would want to. As soon as Jules leaves Ray alone in her villa, she starts working. The first thing she does is research about the Maldives. She finds out there's a treasure hunt that looks interesting to her article. She's so engrossed in the story that she doesn't hear someone knocking on her door. It's Jared. He's there because he's an experienced director and guide. After knocking for a long time, he enters the room, scaring Ray. She throws some fruits at him, which he finds funny. Jared introduces himself and explains that he's the one responsible for taking her around the island. After reading about the shipwreck, all that Ray wants to do is write about it. Jared isn't as thrilled as she is. A big part of the island's attractiveness is the treasure hunt, but he knows that it's a tourist trap. He informs her it's only a legend, but Ray is determined. She's going to find out more about the tourist attraction, with or without Jared. He takes her around the villa and she sees the underwater rooms for the first time. When she sees the fish, she wonders if she can swim with sharks. Jared is surprised that she wants to do such a dangerous activity, but he will soon find out that Ray is very brave. When Ray explains that she isn't looking forward to practicing yoga or meditation, Jared is disappointed. He hides it and tells her to go hiking in the forest. Ray finally agrees to something, but she refuses any help. She has always traveled by herself and she's used to doing everything alone. She loves being by herself and doesn't feel lonely at all. Ray is different from any woman Jared ever met. She's vivacious and brave, and she is always pushing herself to extremes. She loves adrenaline and she can't stay put for long. That's why she isn't thrilled about relaxing through yoga. Meditation for her is absurd. After Jared leaves, Shelley calls Ray to see what she thinks of the island, and Ray assures her she knows the perfect story to write. Shelley is skeptical because she knows how Ray is and she wants her to leave her comfort zone for once. Jared goes out sailing with his friend and they casually talk about Ray. His friend thinks he has the perfect opportunity to advertise his yoga and meditation course. Jared isn't as optimistic, especially not after meeting Ray. She's the opposite of the people who usually practice yoga with him. She's too energetic. While they are sailing, they pass through the shipwreck he told Ray is a legend. It's real. Jared only doesn't want tourists to find out about its existence. Later on, Ray admires the fish in her bedroom before going to sleep. She dreams of her boss telling her that her article is not good and she's losing her touch. The dream shows that Ray is struggling with Shelley's request that she changes her writing. She's afraid that she's going to lose her essence. She loves working for the magazine, and she loves traveling all over the world discovering amazing places people don't usually go to. She fears she's going to start traveling to expensive hotels and resorts. Ray wakes up and goes outside to take a deep breath. She has to admit the island is absolutely beautiful. She notices someone swimming and grabs her binoculars to find out who it is. It's Jared in all his wet glory. Ray's jaw drops at the sight of a half-naked Jared and she can't take her eyes off him. It's only when Jared looks back at her that she quickly pretends she isn't looking. Later on, she gets ready to go hiking. She puts on her clothes, stretches, and puts on loads of sunscreen. Outside her villa, there's fresh green juice and a map of a hiking trail for her. She throws away the map and goes on her journey with no help. She thinks her experience is going to be enough to navigate around the woods. It's not. She's quickly lost in the rainforest. She walks in circles until she's too tired to go on. While she's resting for a moment, she hears a hissing sound and immediately thinks it's a snake. She slowly goes away from the sound and ends up entering the area of the resort where Jared teaches his meditation class. Jared is confused when he sees the state she's in. Her hair is a mess because of humidity and she's sweating a lot. By the look on her face, it was obvious she was lost. He tries to hold in his amusement at the strange woman and offers her a spot in his group. She refuses. Before she goes back to the forest, Jared wonders if she wants to have dinner. Ray thinks he's asking her out, but he clarifies that there's a restaurant at the resort that is amazing. He could make a reservation for her. Ray isn't insulted and agrees. When it's dinner time, Ray sees a woman she met on the airplane, Deborah. She looks nervous standing outside the restaurant, and Ray quickly wonders if she wants to have dinner with her. Deborah agrees. Their dinner is pleasant and Ray learns that Deborah's husband passed away 5 years back. After his passing, she decided to make a list of things she wanted to do that she never had the chance to do. She thought it would be easier for her, but it isn't. She misses her husband and she feels self-conscious doing things alone. She's the opposite of Ray, who always does everything alone. While they are talking, Jared appears and wonders if Ray wants some fresh oysters. She happily agrees, not knowing that he's going to dive to grab them. She's amazed and delighted when she sees him passing through. Deborah tells her that she needs to go and leaves Ray by herself. She starts working in the meantime, not worrying that there were mostly couples in the restaurant. A few moments later, Jared brings her oysters and they start talking. They have a lot of chemistry and feel attracted to each other. Ray is a beautiful woman, and Jared can't stop his infatuation. She's refreshing. After dinner, Jared walks Ray back to her villa and they talk about their lives. Jared tells Ray why he moved to the Maldives and changed his life completely. He used to be a doctor, but after years of practice, he thought it wasn't fulfilling anymore. He wanted to have more and he found it on the island. Life there is peaceful and he found his calling. Helping people relax. Ray is surprised that he changed his life so much. She could never imagine changing her career. She loves what she does. She wants to help people face their fears through her writing. Before they depart, Jared tells Ray that he's going to take her diving the following day, and she can't wait for it. It's the kind of activity she loves doing. Jared goes back to the resort's lobby and there he talks to Jules about Ray. He admits he finds her a hard nut to crack. She's not the kind of person who would enjoy yoga, but Jules disagrees with him. She thinks she's exactly the kind of person he should try to help. Ray is a workaholic who's living for her job, though she does something she loves. Jules has faith that Jared will be able to make her see the beauty in taking a deep breath and looking inside herself. The following day, Shelley sends Ray a message to check up on her progress. Ray's ignoring Shelley and everything she represents at the moment. She's afraid of letting her down, so she'd rather pretend nothing is wrong. She meets Deborah again and invites her to go diving with her, but Deborah denies it. She's going to relax at the beach and finish her book. Ray excitedly tells her that she ordered that same book when it was released, but she never got the chance to read it. It's been 3 years already. She has the sudden realization that she hasn't stopped working for a long time. She can't even remember the last time she stopped to read a book she wanted. When she meets Jared, he teaches her the breathing technique for diving. As she follows his instruction, their eyes clash and they can't stop staring at each other. They have a lot of fun diving together. Ray even takes pictures of them. Jared takes her swimming with the sharks as she wanted to, and Ray couldn't be happier. At the same time, she still doesn't think writing about the peaceful life on the island is good enough. She wants more. After their morning together, Ray goes back to the resort and sees the treasure hunt advertisement in the lobby. She gets excited about it and thinks that would be the perfect subject for her article. Later on, she meets with Deborah and invites her to go dancing with her. Deborah is unsure, but Ray is so radiant it's hard to say no to her. They dance together, but Deborah isn't very good. She's self-conscious and embarrassed. She leaves Ray there to dance by herself, but luckily for her, Jared shows up. They dance with Jared leading Ray and it's beautiful. Ray feels her heart jumping in her chest at his proximity, and the way he holds her close. Jared can't stop looking at her and her beautiful smile. After the dance class, Ray goes after Jared and he shows her the pearl he found while fishing for oysters. She starts talking to him about the treasure hunt because she found out that he was on an expedition that found pirate gold in the shipwreck. Jared thinks she's being silly to believe in that story and that it's a lie. He gets annoyed when she insists that it may be true. She wants him to help her find it, but he doesn't want to. He already explained that it is a tourist trap and she shouldn't be fooling herself. Still, Ray sees it only as a good story. She doesn't care when he tells her that people throw fake things in the ocean, polluting it, just so tourists can find something cool to brag about. She wants to go no matter what. He gives her the pearl and tells her to keep it as a reminder of what is real and what the island has to offer her. It's not fake stories and tourist traps. There's a lot there that she isn't willing to see because of her stubbornness. Ray has dinner with Deborah again, and this time she tells her story to the older woman. Deborah is surprised that Ray is so brave to go traveling alone, but she notices that she needs a break too. She lends Ray the book she had been reading and suggests she take her time and relax a bit. Meanwhile, Jared finds out through his friends that his ex, Monica, is returning to the island. He isn't excited to see her again after their breakup. He's also upset that no matter what he says or does, Ray isn't interested in his course in the slightest. Later on, Ray has another dream with Shelley. This time she finds a golden coin at the bottom of the ocean. The following day, she opens her notebook to write, but she has no idea what to write about. Instead of frying her brain, she decides to relax. She takes a bubble bath while she reads her book, and it's good for a while. Her boss sends her another message and Ray ignores it again. When she meets Deborah again, she wants to do yoga but isn't feeling brave enough. She begs Ray to go with her and she agrees, only to help Deborah. Jared is very surprised to see her in his class, but he's hopeful that she may have changed her mind about it. At the end of the class, though, he finds out that the only reason Ray accepted doing yoga was to talk to him again. She still hasn't given up on the treasure hunt and asks him to help her again. He is reluctant, but when she says she's going to do it whether he helps or not, he gets worried. He's feeling a connection to her that he feels it's worth exploring. The problem is that Ray is too stubborn for her good, and when she puts something in her head, it's hard to take it away. Ray signs up for the tourist treasure hunts and eagerly tries to find a coin that proves the story real. She eventually finds a coin and thinks she hit the jackpot. In the meantime, Jared talks to Jules and she insists he helps Ray find what she's looking for. His course isn't only about learning how to breathe and fixing a person's posture. It's also about self-discovery, and she thinks Ray needs that. She isn't wrong. Ray has her life figured out, but at the end of the day, she likes being in her comfort zone. That's why she's having so much trouble writing an article that is different from what she's used to. She needs to open her mind to different things, then she is going to be able to write freely. After her excursion, Jared is there waiting for her. She is thrilled to show him the coin she found, and he has to give her the bad news. It's fake. She looks so disappointed that Jared decides to help her out. He tells her that a friend of his, Zara, knows all the history of the Maldives and she can tell Ray about it. Ray eagerly accepts to meet her. Ray goes back to the resort and meets Deborah again. Deborah tells her she read all her columns and found them inspiring. For a fearful woman like her, Ray is a model to follow. She is so comfortable in her skin that she isn't afraid of traveling around by herself. As they talk some more, Deborah asks Ray about Jared. After the yoga class, it's obvious they like each other romantically. She thinks Ray should go for it. Ray isn't as sure. She likes Jared and she thinks he's a great guy. The only issue is that he loves the peace and calm of the island, and she loves the agitation of living an adventure. He keeps pestering her about finding out what is inside her, but she wants to know what is outside. The only problem is that she can't even see outside. The following day, Ray and Jared go to the city to meet his friend. They go to a street market and Ray tries many different local fruits. She has a lot of fun with Jared. He's easy to talk to. He even takes her to the beach to see the turtles going to the sea after being hatched. Ray is enchanted. Jared introduces her to another friend of his, the one who fishes for pearls, and the man gives them 2 bracelets made up of black pearls. He tells them that the gift represents hope for curing a wounded heart. He mentions that when the string breaks and the pearls go back to the ocean, true love has been found. They are a bit bashful at the man's implication, but at the same time, their heart skips a beat. After that, they go to his friend's house to have dinner, and Zara finally tells Ray the story of the shipwreck. She explains that it isn't fake and that legends say there's gold in the ocean, but that the population doesn't care for it. Ray excitedly hears everything Zara presents to her. She's still thinking about writing about the shipwreck. They have a great dinner and Ray blends well with Jared's friends. After eating, she sits with Zara and she gossips about Jared's ex coming back to town. She tells Ray that Monica broke Jared's heart and he hasn't been the same ever since. He's closed himself off to love, but Zara noticed that he is different with Ray. He's happier, smiling more. Ray tells Zara that she likes Jared and that he's nice and kind. He overhears her talking and interrupts their conversation to take her back to the resort. Zara offers that they stay at her house because it's late and they agree. Before they go to sleep, Ray thanks Jared for the wonderful time and for introducing her to his friends. He replies that he's glad she came with him. When she leaves, Zara tells Jared that Ray is a woman he should keep. This moment with Jared and his friends makes Ray realize that there's more to the island than she can see. She dreams of her boss again, but even in the dream, she ignores her requests. She decided that she was going to write about what she enjoyed on the island, not what she thinks is going to sell. Jared notices that she looks different and lighter, and Ray tells him that she's happy she came with him. She looks so happy that Jared decides to show her what she wants to see so badly. He makes her promise she won't write an article about it and takes her to the real shipwreck. Ray is thrilled that she gets to see it and they dive. She takes lots of pictures of the ship and Jared. She even finds a golden coin, this one a real one. When they go back to the boat, she wonders how no one knows about the shipwreck. Jared explains that people don't want tourists to know it since it's a historic patrimony. Ray understands how important it is for him and decides to throw the coin back into the ocean. It shows how much she changed after getting to know the part of the island that isn't a tourist attraction. It became important to her, and she wants to preserve it. When they return to the resort, Ray knows what she's going to write about. She promises Jared that she won't mention the shipwreck and he believes her. They stare at each other for a moment, both wanting to get closer and do something about their attraction. They don't move. Ray leaves after Jared promises to see her later. After that, Ray does something she never thought she would. She goes to a spa. It's very relaxing, and when she returns to the resort, she is glowing. She meets Deborah again, and the older woman notices Ray looks different. She feels different too. Deborah confesses to Ray that she's also different. The trip made her understand that she can move on from her husband, though she can never forget him. She invites Ray to a party later on and Ray agrees to go. She gets ready and wears a beautiful dress that complements her skin tone and natural beauty. When Jared sees her, he's enchanted. They dance and have fun during the party until a pretty woman appears and catches Jared's attention. He excuses himself to talk to the woman and Ray watches how comfortable they look with each other. Her mind connects the dots and she realizes that's Monica, his ex. Jared comes back to her and says that he has to leave. Ray feels disheartened that he left her to go who knows where with his ex. It suddenly feels as if she has been played for a fool. She doesn't stay long at the party, not feeling in the mood anymore, and goes away. She feels sad and lonely for the first time in ages. All because she feels for Jared and he's still hung up on his ex. At least that's what her mind conjured. Jared goes after her and surprises her. She straight up tells him that she doesn't want any complications in her life, much less be the third wheel in a relationship. Jared understands the assumption she made and tells her that Monica is there on her honeymoon with another man. He also makes it clear that he has no feelings for her, and that she made the right call by breaking up with him. He can see it clearly now. They weren't made to be together, but he feels like Ray is the perfect match for him. Ray relaxes after his explanation and agrees to go with him somewhere. Jared prepared a romantic picnic for them in the middle of the beach. It's the perfect evening for them. They dance, get to know each other better, and almost kiss. When Ray goes back to her room, she has a huge grin on her face. She never guessed when her boss sent her there that she would fall in love. Now, Jared is all she can think about. Her happiness doesn't last long when she receives a call from her boss. Shelley excitedly congratulates her for finding a good story and tells her that she wants the article about the shipwreck. At first, Ray is confused by how she knows about it, but then she realizes she accidentally shared her pictures with Jared with her. She tries telling Shelley she doesn't want to write about it, not after her promise to Jared, but Shelley insists. It's either that or she can say goodbye to her career. When the call is over, Ray doesn't know what to do. She has a very difficult choice to make, but deep down she knows exactly what she wants. The first thing she does the following morning is go talk to Jared. He's busy trying to make a logo for his course, but when she appears, he turns the laptop off. Ray right away notices that he's acting oddly. She tries telling him what happened, but he cuts her off by saying that her boss just rented a bungalow for the camera crew to stay. Again, Ray tries to tell him that she didn't do it on purpose, but Jared feels betrayed by her. He can't trust a word that leaves her mouth anymore. It's Ray's last day on the island and she doesn't know what to do. Deborah comforts her, trying to make her see that not all is lost. Ray is hopeless. She tells Deborah that she finally decided to open her heart again and that she doesn't want to be alone anymore. Deborah gives her the idea of writing about falling in love during her trip, and Ray thinks that's a great idea. But first, she needs to find Jared to try and explain to him that it wasn't completely her fault. She asks Jules if she knows where he is and she sadly tells her that he is sailing. Before he went, he left a present for Ray. It's the same pearl he gave her but in a necklace. It's beautiful. Ray is not willing to give up on him. She goes back to her villa and starts writing her article about finding love in the Maldives. She writes for hours until it's time for her to go. Jared still hasn't come back, so she's going to leave without saying goodbye. While she waits for her plane, her pearl bracelet breaks, and the pearls fall into the sea. She remembers what Jared's friend told them, that when the bracelet breaks, true love has been found. She sees a sea turtle which gives her an idea of where Jared may be. Jared is sitting alone at the beach feeling sorry for himself when Ray appears. She finally has the chance to explain what happened to him and that she didn't write the article. Jared admits that he's falling hard for her and he's scared of it. He already had his heart broken and he doesn't want it to happen again, especially not with Ray. She also confesses to loving him and that her column is going to be about him. She embarked on her journey with a thirst for another thrilling escapade, not knowing that destiny had an extraordinary surprise in store for her. Amid her pursuit, amidst the unknown, she stumbled upon the greatest adventure of all, falling in love. She's ready to brave that feeling with Jared. He tells her that he finally realized that he wants to travel around the world to teach his course, and he wants to accompany her. Ray couldn't be happier. Shelley calls her again to congratulate her on another great article. Her career is saved and she's going to have a partner to follow her through the next journey in her life. After talking to Shelley, Ray and Jared finally kiss. Ray's article turns out to be a big success, and it's no wonder why. Love, the essence that adds a touch of magic to any tale, played a pivotal role in her story.